I get a really good one. Speed-wise, I'll get it up to, what'll I get? I'll get over in the early 170s, won't it still now?
170, yeah, 172 balls.
172 balls, which is still fast enough. You know, you look at the guys that hit it silly far. Dustin, what's Dustin's speed at? 190 or something. I mean, that's just, it's ridiculous. But in general, you know, I think last week I finished at 20th in driving distance. So, you know, I'm still getting it out there. I'm not that short, but I am definitely getting older. The one thing that I found a little bit difficult when these first came out, you know, all of a sudden now we've got bigger graphics on the top of the heads, and the first couple of looks, I thought, well, it looks a little bit funny. But the more I've used them, the more I found it so much easier to line up. It's a complete optical thing, because you look down, because you use for years, like I'm sure you guys were looking down as just a plain head, there's nothing on them. And oh my God, look, that's a bit funny. But everything, especially on the driver and the RBZ fairway, was that little triangle at the back of them has made it. That's my first go-to thing. I look where the ball's lined up for, and then I look, compare straight back to that. So the graphics on top of it may take a little bit of getting used to, but when you do, it's so much easier to line it up now because the graphics are on top of the head. But ideally, I'd like to hit a little draw all the time, but that's not really what I do. I still move it about a little bit. But the fact that I can still hit different shots and still keep my driving distance up that high and still keep my accuracy there. I mean, if you go 20th and 15th, you're never going to be too far away. I mean, that's a fantastic sort of combination. You've got guys that hit a long way, but they don't hit it straight all the time. So long as I have this one, Jesse, 2 months, this new one, something like that?
Yeah, we've got it Abu Dhabi.
When I tee this up a little bit and really go after it, I can carry this. When I hit a really good one, I'll carry this 280 through the air with a really, really good solid one. And that's massive for a 3-wood. That's almost unheard of. You go over and play, and especially in America where the rough tends to be a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. You know, sometimes you may need to get it, hack it out of the rough. You can get a sander and maybe get it 70, 80 yards. With a rescue, the same sort of lie, you can hack it and get it maybe 180 yards, 200 yards, and that's why I put it in. And now, I certainly wouldn't leave home without one in the bag to give me an option. Because, you know, like in a few weeks' time when I do play at Augusta, you know, going into 13 or 15 or whatever, you need something that you can hit straight up here. I can do it with a 3-iron, but it's much easier to do it with a rescue, especially off a hanging line. And the rescue just works. I don't know, most of you guys know you all use rescues now or not. But when I go and play a Port Rush, it won't be in the bag, because I get a 3-iron and hit it this height off the ground. But in general, I'd say I'd play probably 75% of my rounds on tour this year with a rescue in the back. Yeah, I'm seeing everybody else using these rescues and thinking, what a wuss they are using rescues and stuff. But eventually, I took them down and played with them in South Africa last week for the first time. But you would expect with this sort of technology that the ball would launch higher, it would have a little bit more of that sort of flight and then release more when it hits the greens. It's actually the opposite with these things. You still get the good flight. I can get the flight where the ball goes off this way, but then it's coming down on the greens and stopping quicker than my old MBs did, which is quite amazing, because that should be the opposite way. When you're playing links, you want a totally different lobways than you are when you're playing somewhere like wherever, Mount Juliet, that's wet and soggy, and trying to hit a tight pitch over a bunker. You obviously need more bounce. So what Jesse does, I have a selection of them. So if I'm going to play links, I'll use a different lobways than I will do for if I'm going to play an inland course, one with more bounce. And he does the ground because he knows what shape I like. So, you know, he does everything. The only thing he doesn't do for me is come to the toilet with me. All the rest of it he does.